Welcome to this week's meeting of the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley. As part of the club, we have three areas of focus. One is innovation, number two is education, and the third is in regards to innovation. I would say that we use technology as a tool in order to meet the goals of Rotary International, which is service above self and making the world a better place to live. Today we have a very special guest, a guest who I've been looking for as long as I've been in the Rotary, in this club and on the program committee. One of the foundations of Rotary is the four-way test. And I've been looking for someone who has eminently qualified to talk about the four-way test and educate all of our members. And when I picked up this September's Rotarian, I noticed that our guest speaker today had written a letter to the editor outlining his history with dealing with the four-way test. And I knew that this was the person that I had been looking for. Now, I have with us today is Professor William Weckerly. And to give you some idea of why Bill is so eminently qualified is number one, he's 82 years of age. Number two, he has over 50 years of perfect attendance in Rotary. And number three, he is, for the last 17 years, have taught a course in ethics at his local state college. And prior to that part of his history, he was also a church pastor. And I would at this time like to pass the program over to Bill so that he can educate us on the four-way test. Take it away, Bill.
Okay. I want to give a little background, a little history of the four-way test, because some people don't know about that. Rotary was concerned about promoting high ethical standards in their professional lives. One of the world's most widely printed and quoted statements of business ethics is a four-way test, which was created in 1932 by Rotarian Herbert Taylor, who later served as RI president when he was asked to take charge of a company that was facing bankruptcy. This 24-word code of ethics for employees to follow their business and professional lives became the guide for sales, production, advertising, and all relations dealing with customers. And the survival of the company is credited for this simple philosophy adopted by Rotary in 1943. The four-way test has been translated into more than 100 languages and published in thousands of ways. Okay, that's the history, but go back a little bit to ethics. It's also called moral philosophy, but I shun that word, that phraseology. That's another name for ethics. Ethics is a Greek word that means habit. And I think of that in sort of like character, what a person is really like. Michael Shermer has written a book entitled The Science of Good and Evil, who claims that we are hardwired genetically to be moral, ethical individuals. I don't know that I agree with that grandiose statement, but when teaching ethics, well, when I tell people I'm teaching contemporary ethics, they say, well, ethics is ethics. I said, no, we have our classical theories of ethics, but with every new innovation, technology, whether it be medicine or business, a new set of ethical problems arises. And so we have divine command, which is basically by what God says or the Bible, but that has a drawback because not everyone believes in God, unfortunately, and there are many different interpretations. And we have egoism, and that says what is ethical is what is best for the individual. And relativism, there are no set standards. It depends on the culture, the family, the religion, and so on. And then there's utilitarianism, the greatest good for the greatest number, but there always, since there is a majority, there's always a minority, and sometimes they are just shut out. And a couple others that aren't really that important. But Immanuel Kant, a German philosopher of the 18th century, came up with some what we call categorical imperatives: to always do good, to always tell the truth, never use person as a means but an end, and to establish autonomy. He's probably the most respected ethicist, but actually ethics started with Aristotle way back in ancient Greece. But there's another way to approach it, the golden rule: do to others as you would have them do to you. Every world religion that I'm aware of has a version of the golden rule. So what I do in my ethics class, we cover all this material, but then I say there's an easy way to remember this. And so I repeat the four-way test. And this encompasses absolutely everything that ethics is about. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Now, that is the essence of living an ethical, moral life. Now, granted, we don't all live up to those, but we need to try. And when I'm teaching ethics, we look at, I have the students write essays about particular issues and how they live up to those standards. And it's a matter of trying to do what's best. And so I always end with the four-way test, because, and this comes closest to Kantian ethics, about always tell the truth and always be concerned about others, and to establish autonomy and help others to be autonomous and not relying on other people for their meaning in life. So this basically, I've never tried to summarize a whole semester's work in just a very short time. But we do get into some very thorny issues like capital punishment and abortion and so on, because there are no winners or losers. So basically that's it. So I enjoy making this presentation because it's something that I'm very, very, I'm passionate about moral philosophy, ethics, and trying to help people establish that. And yes, ethics can be learned. We learn that from our parents when we were very young children, and in schools and community and so on. So it's a combined effort to make individuals who lead a moral, ethical life. Well, I'm excited. See, I love teaching so much that I told one of the deans that I would almost teach for nothing, but not quite that much. And the students really respond well. So, and so many of them have told me that what I made great impression on their lives. And I said, well, what did I do? What did I say? And I don't know. So I try to do the very best I can.
Thank you.
Okay, Bill, I have a couple questions of you.
Okay.
Let's go to step 4 of the four-way test, and which is what will it be beneficial to all concerned? Would you like to explain that more in detail, please?
Okay, this is a general statement that doesn't always happen, but to work for the betterment of as many people as possible. Some people don't want to accept what we have to offer, but to help make their lives better, whether it be in their psychological, though I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I've dealt with thousands and thousands of people, so I have a pretty good idea what people are really about. So that I think all these items in the four-way test to be of first quality, first among equals, every one of them. But that one will be beneficial to all concerned. And that's difficult to work out because we're dealing with so many people. I don't know if that helps.
Yes. Let's go to the third one, which is will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Yes, that's one. We have a committee, which my wife and I have done for a number of years, Family of Rotary. I've been in clubs that really didn't seem to care much about members and their welfare, but we take definite steps to give, to allow people to have this feeling of friendship, of family, of caring and sharing, and we can support them at times of need. So but always working for goodwill, because sometimes people are by nature nasty, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to foster goodwill. And that's very important.
Right. One of the things that I have found, because I've been in Rotary since 1979, on a couple occasions where there's been dissension within our clubs, the club that I was with, how we resolved it is we started from the four-way test.
I'm sure you did,
Yeah.
because that's exactly the way it should be done.
And it's the utilization of that test that it was easy to solve the problems.
Right.
And the thing that I would impress to people is that the four-way test works.
Yep, sure it does.
And so very often as a club and as a club member, I found that we often have to be reminded of those basic principles,
Absolutely.
which governs human interaction and human relationships.
Well, okay, and it's a given fact that sometimes we get so involved in our own lives and our own concerns that we don't reach out to those that might need encouragement, and they need a friend. I know that in years past, had some members that just were rather difficult. Oh, and also there, I know we had a number of new members a number of years ago, but they joined as a way of drumming up business. And when they didn't drum up the business they thought they would benefit from, they dropped out of the club. But for me, it's been a way of my professional life, my personal life, and it just reaches out, takes hold.
Right. I understand exactly what you're saying, and because service above self means that you put those in need in your communities and in the world ahead of what you wish for yourself.
Right. If I have time, I want to share something with you. One of the most important memories I had in Rotary, the club I belonged to in Indiana, Monticello, Indiana, helped with Special Olympics. Well, our 12-year-old son went with me to help, and he was working with older, intellectually challenged members, young people, and he took this woman's hand, the woman was probably in her 60s, and Eric was encouraging her to do the best she could, and she jumped about a foot. She was so thrilled. Eric hugged her, and to me, that was one of the most amazing experiences I've had in Rotary.
Right. Shags, do you have any other questions of Bill?
No,
At
nothing
this
at all.
point, at this point in time, for the members and guests who are watching this presentation, I would direct you to the comment section at the bottom of the meeting, and please comment and have questions that you may have of Bill, and I will notify him as to when this recording will be part of a meeting, and he will then answer those questions that you may have. And I would also remind you to fill out the attendance form. And if you are a Rotarian from a visiting club, if you put in your correct email address, then our club will send to you a receipt for attendance, which you're able to give to your club secretary so that you will be registered as a makeup. Now, at this time, Bill, I would turn the meeting back to you and for your last words of wisdom about the four-way test. And also I wish to thank you very much for your participation in this meeting. Take it away, Bill.
Okay, I was thrilled to be asked. In fact, I was honored to be asked, and I made quite an impression on our district governor, who eventually will want to view this video. But like I said, Rotary has been a part of my professional life, my family life. My wife was active before women were allowed to join Rotary. And she was doing more for Rotary than many of the regular members. But I will be going strong, and I was never interested in doing the R85 kind of membership because I wanted to be active. And that's why I've only missed a few meetings. Back when we were in Indiana, I came down with mononucleosis. I don't do anything normal, but my membership I was out of commission for 6 weeks. So that was the year that I kind of lost and had to start over again. But in fact, I look forward to meetings. Well, our club, a small club of 27 members, I think, we did something extraordinary. We went to 2 meetings a month, and we have 1 year we couldn't find anyone willing to serve a full year's president. We had 4 presidents take over each a quarter, and that rather innovative. So I'm in it for the long haul, and like when we moved here to Florida, that was our 11th move. The next would be when they take us off feet first, and that's the only time I'm going to leave Rotary is when I'm not on this earth anymore.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.